In a valley folded between two sleeping mountains, a thin line of stone steps climbed toward a small hermitage where Master Deverett lived in silence. Every morning the first rays of sun touched its roof before they reached the rest of the world. One morning, a young student named Aaron arrived there, breathless from the climb but full of hope. He had heard that the guru could shape a person's life the way a potter shaped clay, and Aaron longed to change himself, his mind, his discipline, his future. When he bowed before Deverett, the old man watched him with eyes calm enough to soften even the harshest ambition. Aaron asked to learn strength, skill, and wisdom. Deverett told him that all these things grew from one root, and when Aaron eagerly asked what that root was, the guru simply handed him an old wooden bucket with a frayed rope handle. He told Aaron to fetch water from the river every morning before sunrise, fill the cistern, and then report back. Aaron hesitated. He had anticipated sacred mantras, deep philosophies, or dazzling martial techniques. Instead, he had been given a task fit for a laborer. But he had come too far to argue. The next morning he woke in darkness, dragged himself down the long steps, filled the bucket, and climbed all the way back. His arms ached, his legs trembled, and his mind felt stubbornly unchanged. Still, he did the same thing the next day, and the next, and the next. After a week, Aaron gathered his courage and confessed to Deverett that he felt no wiser, no stronger, and no closer to anything meaningful. The guru listened, offered no comfort, and told him only to continue. So Aaron did. Days curled into weeks. His hands grew calloused, his shoulders broadened, and his breath found a steady rhythm during the climb. What had once felt useless now felt almost natural, though he kept that admission to himself. One dawn, as the wind scraped at the valley like cold fingers, the bucket cracked from the strain of the water, and spilled everything halfway up the steps. Aaron stared at the mess, furious and defeated. The loss felt heavier than the water itself, and he sat on the stone stair, close to abandoning all he had worked for. Master Deverett appeared silently beside him, as though the mist itself had carried him there. When he asked why Aaron was so troubled, the young man protested that everything was wasted because the water had spilled. Deverett tapped lightly on Aaron's chest and said that while Aaron carried water, the river had also been carrying him. Aaron did not understand the words, but something inside him loosened, and he stood again. The days continued. Eventually Deverett repaired the bucket, and Aaron's mornings fell back into their familiar rhythm. Seasons shifted. The air grew warm, then cool again. Aaron stopped counting the steps because they no longer frightened him. They had become companions. Then, after many months, Deverett handed him a wooden staff and announced that it was time to begin martial training. Aaron felt a spark inside him. Finally, something real, something worthy. But as soon as he began, Deverett's eyes widened slightly. Aaron moved with balance, breathed correctly, and held the staff with a naturally firm grip. When the guru asked him how he had learned so quickly, Aaron admitted he did not know. Deverett explained that he had been training all along. The climb had built his strength, the early mornings had sharpened his mind, and the steady repetition had carved discipline into his very bones. Consistency had been shaping him long before he knew he was being shaped. After that, every lesson came easier than Aaron expected. Not because they were simple, but because he had become capable of meeting them. His mind stayed still during long meditation. His memory held difficult teachings. His patience deepened because he had practiced patience every morning without realizing it. He understood now that small actions, repeated without fail, became great forces. One night, sitting across from Deverett near a crackling fire, Aaron asked why people ran toward sudden change instead of slow, consistent effort. Deverett said that people trusted noise more than silence, and spectacle more than patience. But true change was like the dawn, quiet, gradual, and unstoppable. Years passed. Aaron grew into a young man whose presence was calm but strong, like a tree rooted deeply in the valley floor. When the time came for him to leave and carry the teachings beyond the mountains, Deverett walked with him down the steps. They reached the bottom, the place where Aaron had once stood trembling with ambition and uncertainty. Now he stood tall. Aaron asked the guru what the greatest lesson of all was. Deverett looked up the long staircase that had shaped the young man's life and said, "A single day changes nothing, but 1,000 days change everything." Aaron bowed, understanding now what he hadn't understood years before. He walked away from the valley not with secrets or miracles, but with something far more powerful, the quiet strength of consistency, a strength that would follow him for the rest of his life.